He just got married in the game world. It's an online game where the players can enter into the game world. Afterwards his wife calls him, with a blushing face she says, that they should live their happy life now, to which he just replies, "Ah." This made her to get angry because that's all he said as a reply. Afterwards he thoughts to himself that this elf name is Rin, and their first meet was 4 years ago, and at that time she was a timid girl. Even though they got paired as a random in the game when doing a dungeon ride, she was a beginner, so he had to teach her everything. After a year she still had some shyness. And at the second year she started to be happy when he is around. After that 3 years passed and they are friends now. As a result she became his best friend in that online game. He then checks his status where he only have one title to complete, which was marrying. So he quickly asks her to marry him to complete that title. To which she blushingly looks at him, and says yes. Afterwards she throws a bouquet, which became a bride's bouquet. She then blushingly looks at him and once again says that she loves him. To which he just replies that they can play more often now. All of a sudden she says that she wants to leave. As a result she goes offline. Afterwards he logs out by saying he actually did something productive today. He then gets a message, which was from Rin, and she declares that they are husband and wife now. In the end he decides to sleep because he has school tomorrow. Even before going to sleep he thinks to do some mining in the game. Afterwards, at the next day, he suddenly gets happy because there is an event which about to start soon. All of a sudden, the guys in his class started to talk about an idol that just released a song which went really popular, to which his friends tells him to be silent, but he replies she is not in the classroom, so it's okay. Right after he said she arrives, which made the boys in the class to blush. Afterwards his friend tells that guy to tell her in the face on what he thinks about her music, to which he says he won't, out of embarrassment. Meanwhile she silently sits in her seat, because she is one of an idol girl from the currently popular idol group named Starmizu. But she is the main spotlight in her idol group. Afterwards everyone in the school started blush whenever she walks around, no matter the gender. Also her sharp look, with a cold attitude is making them look like a mere mortal compared to her. Even still some students says that they don't want to talk to her, because of her emotionless expression and her speaking is also too low. Even the boys talks to themselves that it's just good to admire her from afar, rather than approaching her. He then goes on by saying that he secretly recorded her song when he has chance, to which MC thinks that he won't take his wallet near that exhibition. He then suddenly gets a message, which was Rin, calling him to play with her at 8 o'clock, to which he accepts, and goes into sleep until the first period ends. Afterwards he thoughts to himself that he will have more fun to play with Rin, rather than watching some idols. In the end, it became night, and he got shocked because there is a maintenance break until 8 o'clock. Also he planned to do mining until she arrives. Afterwards he decides to look at some infos about the event. But then he sees a music video that his classmates were talking about, so he decides to listen it for once, but that song shocked him, because he started to like it, more than he thought. Afterwards he realizes that she has a beautiful voice. As a result he decides to listen to her other songs. By the time he realizes that he got a message from Rin, saying she is online, it was already late. So he quickly logs in and he started to search for her, by thinking if she is angry at him. Also he realizes he can't tell her that he got late because of some idol song. She then suddenly calls him, and says he is really late, to which he apologizes. Suddenly she grabs his hand, and invites him to do fishing with her. After arriving he casually asks to her on why she is not mad, to which she replies that their trust is mutual, also they are a couple too, so because of it she won't ask him on why he was late. In the end he tells the truth about watching some idol's music video. She then asks him on what idol he was watching, to which he replies that they already banned the subject to bring their real-life stuffs into the game, because in the time back she requested him to not talk about each other's real-life stuffs, but this time she started to ask him, but then he says that idol group name, Starmizu. He then goes on by saying that he just heard about them today, but they're better than he thought, and among them there is a girl named Mizuki Rinka, who is exceptionally talented in singing. Also that girl is from his class. Afterwards both of them silently sits there for 3 minutes. And he started to think whether if he said something wrong. As a result he apologizes to her, and goes on by asking her to forget what he just said. All of a sudden she blushingly says that she is that idol named Mizuki Rinka, which didn't shock him, and he asks her to not joke about this. To which she started to say, she is in the second year, class number 3rd, also she sits in middle front row, and their board as a star drawn in the corner. On top of that her homeroom teacher name is Satu Sensei. After hearing it, he got shocked because everything she said was true. She then asks him on who he is from her class. After asking it she sadly looks at him, and then he says that he sits in back of the class, which is also known as MC seat. But then she suddenly says his name correctly. In the end he silently says that she wants to leave, and leaves the game. And after closing the game he stares at the monitor while wondering if she got disappointed. He then started to get sad because this might become a big reason enough to make Rin to not play with him anymore. And suddenly he decides to not let that happen. Since in this last 4 years, he accepted as a given that Rin is always by his side. Suddenly he remembers her sad expression she had earlier, to which he goes on by thinking he is really an idiot. All of a sudden he gets a message, which was from Rin, inviting him to have lunch with her at the lunchtime. This shocks him, and then he gets relieved because it looks like she doesn't hate him, but after thinking for a while, he comes to the realization that Rin is that famous idol, Mizuki Rinka. Even if he tries to combine them, their personality doesn't match for him. Because in the game she is being really pushy around him, but in real life, she didn't even say a word, after getting asked out by the most handsome guy from their school. Since it's so opposite, he concludes that it must be some of his classmate that is trying to do some prank with him. Because there is no way that famous idol will play this type of games, in the end he gives up by saying that there is no way it must be the real her. As a result he asks her to prove him. She then sends him a selfie as a proof. Afterwards at the next day, he wasn't happy because he couldn't able to sleep at all, but he is still worried whether she will play with him like usual. All of a sudden he hears some guys calling her cute, but still that picture is edited. After coming to the class he once again thinks that photo must be a edited photo. Therefore there is no real confirmation that it's really her. Right after that she turns back and waves her hands at him, to which he sweatingly waves back, and confirms that it's really her. Afterwards at the lunchtime, both of them eating lunch together. But everyone around them is thinking to themselves that they are jealous of him, to which he realizes that the girl, who is sitting in front of him is Mizuki Rinka, who has a smooth white skin, her large eyes is also good, with a perfectly balanced face. He then once again realizes that she looks really beautiful. All of a sudden she says that she got shocked after realizing his true identity, to which he shouts back by saying that he is the one that got shocked. She then goes on by saying that he literally used his real name as a short form in the game, to which he points her name, which is also the same. Afterwards she blushingly says that they do get along in the real life too, to which he awkwardly says that's right. But she says that it's really rare that they were classmates, which is like a fate, to which he replies that they do got married but only in the game. Afterwards she calls him, and says that they got married online, so which means that's a pure love. But after seeing it others thoughts to themselves that MC must have did something to get her angry. Meanwhile he thinks to himself that his idea here is, that in online players play game from their heart by changing the characters to their hidden personality. Therefore she can say he is the real one. Also in the real life there are people that's approaching her by having ulterior motives, but in the game world everybody gets disgusted after realizing she is a girl. But he is the only one that was pure and sincere to her. Also he cheered her up when her idol stuffs aren't going well, because one day when playing the game, he caught a fish, so he asks her to help him, but she was spaced out so the fish got away. As a result she started to apologize to him, but then he started to pat her head by saying that there is nothing wrong with her and she should just go in her own pace. Which made her to cry, but she says thanks to him. In the end he realizes that was the time she had a problem with her idol stuffs. She then goes on by saying, if he wasn't there she would have quitted being an idol. Also the emotional supports he gave her, is all made her to conclude that she should marry him in the game, but this shocked everyone, since they heard her saying marriage. Which made him to blush, and he started to calm himself down by saying she was just talking about the game. Afterwards he gets happy because she is really taking that game seriously. And then she asks him about his opinion, to which he replies that she is right and also the marriage is important in that game, while thinking that it sure gives them the title. To which she suddenly smiles, and says, so he also thinks like that, with a cold face, but this shocked him, and thoughts to himself that he felt a chill down in his spine. In the end he decides to put it as his imagination. But then someone arrives by saying, Rin's name. But after hearing that voice, he realizes that he heard it somewhere, and to his surprise it was the other girl from Rin's idol group. She then tells her name to him. After seeing them he started to wonder if they are actually going to the same school. Afterwards she says hi to MC, but everyone that's watching them, once again gets jealous because he is now talking to other girl too. Afterwards that girl says to Rin, that Kazu will get angry for eating lunch with other guy. As a result she introduces him to her as he is Kazu, which made her to blush and she gets really close to him. Afterwards she gets shocked. In the end she started to say that she really pleased to see Kazu in real life, to which he thoughts to himself that he should be the one that should say it, considering them being the idols. That girl then asks him on how Rin acts in the game, to which she replies that there is no difference. But on inside he says that's not true, but then her friend started to say that she thought she will be a total opposite in the game, which made MC to think that she is absolutely right. In the end that girl thanks MC for being an emotional support for her. Also they aren't that popular at the beginning, so for Rin, who has a stronger sense of responsibility, she worried about it more than anyone. And at the time back, she was about to collapse, so she asks Rin to take rest, to which she quickly rejects it. And she goes on by saying that she pulling everyone's legs, so she should work more harder. Which shocks her, and she goes on by thinking that she doesn't know what to do. But then on one day, when she tried to call Rin, she was looking at her smartphone with a beautiful smile on her face. So she quickly shouts her name, and says if she is talking to her boyfriend. She then blushingly says it was her husband. And they got married in the online game, and he is named Kazu, who is a guy that doesn't ask her personal life stuffs. He also always stays with her, so because of him she feels like she can work really hard. Afterwards that girl thanks Kazu on inside. In the end she started to get more popular as the day goes. But then MC was shocked because he didn't knew that Rin was going through this much. After that Rin blushingly says that she is making her to get embarrassed, but her face expression made others watching to get stabbed in the heart. That girl then goes on by saying that she is a bit jealous since Kazu and Rin is married. Which shocks MC and he tells her to be silent about it. She then goes on by saying that they got married because they like each other, right? To which he replies that they get a title if they get married in the game, which shocked that girl, so she asks him if he doesn't like Rin. As a result he replies, he do like her but as an online friend. To which she started to think for a while, and says, as expected of Rin, all of the sudden Rin asks them, on how long are they going to talk to themselves? She then blushingly says that they are too close. As a result the girl goes back to her place by asking Rin to not get jealous, but that word shocks him, and he goes on by thinking that something is not right in here. All of a sudden he realizes that she might be in love with him in real life too, but as expected he denies that thought. After realizing the current situation, her friend taps on the table while thinking that she can't leave things like this. And she goes on by thinking that she should do something to make them get married. Afterwards lunchtime ends, so that girl returns to her classroom, and when MC started to get back, Rin invites him to play game with her tonight. Afterwards it was the night time, and he was sitting at the fishing place. After that she arrives by saying that they haven't seen each other from the lunchtime. She then blushingly thanks him, since she really had so much fun today because of him. As a result he says that he also had fun. She then says that she is glad, and she suddenly says that she was nervous in this evening, which made him to think that it didn't look like she was nervous. But then she goes on by saying that's because she was about to see Kazu in real life. Afterwards he thoughts to himself that a nerd like him is the one that should be nervous to see a idol like her in real life. After that she gets sad by saying she was also worried that he might not like the idea to meet in real life. In the end he says that he doesn't care about who she is in real life, and all he cares if she plays with him, to which she suddenly gets silent, and then she started to blush, and goes on by hugging him, while saying that she is glad to tell him her true self to him, plus he is a wonderful person in the real life too. This shocks him and he tells her to calm down, and he reminds her about time. As a result she realizes it's late, so she says she will be leaving. Even though she leaves now, they can be together in the real life too. Afterwards she says goodnight to him, but then he thoughts to himself that he once again felt the chill feeling in his spine. Afterwards at the next day, after coming to the classroom she waves hi to MC. Suddenly two boys arrives asking MC on what is going on. But they were really shouting, which everyone in the class hears it. So he takes both of them to a different place. After coming to the rooftop, his friend demands MC to tell them on what going on. As a result he explains them on what really happened, to which he politely asks if he can hit him. But this just confused MC, and this shocks them because the odds of it to happen was really low. But by the calculation of his friend, if the truth were to come out, her career as an idol might come to an end, to which the other guy says that he will also quit being her fan if he realizes that she is loving a nerd from their class, which shocked MC, and he asks to him if he will quit being her fan just for that reason. As a result he grabs his necktie, and he started to say that idols otakus get their motivation because their idol doesn't belong to anyone but rather she is owned by everyone. After coming home he lies in his bed, and then he quickly remembers his friend that told him to watch a specific website after going back. So he decides to check it out, and to his surprise it was Threads, And in that comments, everyone is saying that they want to lock her up in their room, and some saying they want to marry her, which shocks him. But then he finds a comment that says they saw her eating lunch with a guy, which made MC to realize the situation is worse than he thought. All of a sudden he gets a notification, which was from Rin, and she invites him to have a lunch with her again. As a result, he thoughts to himself that if this goes on, her idol life might end, so Rin will once again gets really sad. In the end, he rejects her invite to eat lunch by lying about studying. Meanwhile, in her room, she is repeating his name while hugging a pillow. She says that she will miss him. Afterwards, the next day, he enters the class, and after seeing him she blushingly smiles, but the guys coming behind him gets shocked, and they started to blush. As a result, he silently walks past her, and he started to talk to his friend by completely ignoring her, which confused her. Afterwards, on the rooftop, he tells to his friend that he was really naive about the real world. And he goes on by saying that he decided to keep his distance from her, because it's only an in-game marriage, so as a result he shouts by saying he will stop talking to Rin. Meanwhile, there was a girl sitting near the water tank, says that she heard something nice. Afterwards, the next day, she thoughts to herself that Kazu is acting strange from yesterday. Even though he greeted her in the morning, something is off, and she goes on by worrying if she did something wrong. In the end she gives up, but after noticing her, other boys started to pray because her troubled expression is also cute, and then he suddenly looks at her, and after noticing it she blushes, but then he turns that way. As a result she gets emotional less. Afterwards he once again says he have studies. On top of that he logs off from the game when she logs in. As a result she started to pout, and she angrily puts the fishing rod in the pond. Afterwards, while sitting in the silence, she thoughts to herself that he is the one that said he doesn't care about her real-life identity. At the next day he realizes that she already left the classroom. Afterwards, when his friend invites him to go out while going home, he rejects it by saying he wants to go home. After walking in the corridor, he thoughts to himself that it hurts him to avoid her like this. All of a sudden a cane juice hits his leg, and someone from that room asks MC to take it for them, and when he tries to give it back, they grabs his hands and pulls him inside, and to his surprise it was Rin. In the end he got speechless. Afterwards she takes her hand by saying sorry to him. Even still he tries to leave by saying he have work, but she straight up asks him on why he is avoiding her. This made him to get silent, and she goes on by saying that she just wants to play games with him and get along. After saying it, she sadly stands in front of him. All of a sudden he asks her to not talk to him anymore. She then looks at him, and she just accepts it. Afterwards it was raining, and he realizes that it's getting faster and faster. As a result he decides to not leave until it goes down. But then Rin had an umbrella and she looks at him, but when he looks at her, with a death eyes she ignores him, and she started to walk away. He then goes on by thinking that it's been a while after he told her to not talk with him. After that she didn't even log in into the game, but there is nothing to worry for him, because they became a normal classmates as usual. Afterwards she started to walk, but she was really irritated by that. All of a sudden a small girl comes in and asks to him that she wants to talk with him, but to her surprise he asks her on who she is, to which she blushingly says that they were longing to see each other, to which he quickly rejects. Afterwards she invites him to a place. After walking for a while, she introduces herself to him, but before hearing his name she started to say his name, and he is a 17-year-old who plays game. Also he is a right-hand guy, which shocks him, and he asks her if he is stalking him. As a result she explains he is a celebrity in this school because he went to cafeteria with that famous idol, which shocks him, and he tries to say to her it's a rumor, and then that girl says that she brought him. And the girl who was standing in there was Rin's friend. Afterwards that small girl explains to him that she heard his conversation he had with his friend, so to avoid the rumors, he decided to avoid her and keep his distance from her. She then blushingly requests him to be with her even after knowing everything, because for this past few days she is forcing her to act normal. It's true that her idol work is also important, but she says she wants to make Rin happy as a normal regular woman. So it doesn't matter if it will cause problem in the idol group, she will help him to be with her. This shocks him, and he goes on by thinking that he stopped talking to her for her sake, but more importantly he forgot to think about her feelings. Even though she tried to ask him directly, he rejected her feelings. No matter how big she is in this real world, she is still a normal regular woman who loves that online game. Afterwards he suddenly remembers her saying that they can be together in the real life too. As a result he got scared, and says he was an idiot. That girl then asks him if he is going to talk with Rin, to which he replies that he will talk with her as long as she forgives him. She then happily says thanks to him, but then he gets worried because he doesn't know what to do if the rumors starts to spread again. To which she suddenly says she have a plan for that, while she thought to herself that In truth, she wanted them to marry in real life as soon as possible, but for now she will put in the hold, and she goes on by inviting MC to commence a new plan with her. Afterwards they brought his friend to the rooftop, but he got shocked to see that other idol girl. He then goes on by looking at everyone. Afterwards MC says he has a favor to ask them. And then in the flashback, she says to avoid the rumors from spreading, he should become one of her friend, to which he replies that she doesn't have any friends in the school, and this shocks her, and she goes on by saying that Rin is not the girl that likes to be alone, since in the time back, when she questions her on why she doesn't have friends in the classroom. To which she replies she would love to have friends, but she doesn't show emotions. So it wouldn't be fun to hang out with them. In the end she shockingly says that's not true, but she still says with a slight smile that being with her and Kazu is itself enough for her. So as her plan they will make her to be friends with MC's friends. Afterwards he bows down by asking them to be friends with Rin, so they can avoid the rumors, also she won't feel lonely, to which other two stays silent. But then that guy says, he is being too convenient, because few days ago he said he will stop talking with her. But now he wants to be with her. He then suddenly shouts by saying, who wouldn't want to sign up this plan? But then he gets surprised, because that three guys are saying, why would they not accept this beautiful proposal? So he doesn't even need to ask this thing at all. Which made MC to get happy, but then Nana suddenly says it's going to be tough, since Rin closed her heart after getting rejected by Kazu. Which made him to get shocked. Afterwards they start to discuss about how they can make it normal on how they became friends. All of a sudden that guy with glasses says he knows a realistic way to become friends with her. Afterwards on a evening time, Kazu speaks in the walkie-talkie, if everyone is in the position. Also their plan is to talk to her on the crowded place, and talk to her, but without Kazu being with them for just in case. But naturally Rin will be confused at the start. And that's when they will say to her on to be with her as friends. So after seeing them talk together, everyone in the crowd will think that Rin had a lot of friends, so the guy she had lunch with is also just a friend. Afterwards they started to pledge to make this operation come to true. After a while, as they planned, she was sitting alone in the courtyard, but everyone around her is shocked to see her. All of a sudden they approaches her menacingly. Seeing this MC got shocked, everyone around them is also started to get suspicious. Rin then asks to Nana on who are these people. Nana then goes on by introducing everyone, and except that girl everyone is scared, which made MC to realize this will 100% scare her, and just as he thought she got scared,